5G is, in the tech world, one of the biggest oncoming technologies. And because 5G is inherently wireless, it can change lives for people who may not, when you're in New York City, you have big old buildings and it may be real hard to get fiber into those buildings. In places like Brownsville that may not have the infrastructure for broadband. Can you tell me a little bit about what the city is doing with 5G and how those initiatives will get off the ground in such a physically big place?
Yeah, so 5G is a really important piece of the puzzle potentially. I think the jury is still out largely on how it will really come to fruition. How is it really going to come to life in the ambition to connect everyone all the time? I think that we are certainly playing a leading edge role in this equation, both by the way we're thinking internally on our broadband plan. We're thinking about the reality of the need for multimodal solutions, right? In some cases, it's going to be fiber. In other cases, fiber is going to be a challenge, and we need to look for wireless or other technologies that don't have the same challenges. In a place, again, on the diversity angle, in a place that's physically diverse also as New York, where you have some neighborhoods that are very, very dense and concentrated and very vertical, and you have other neighborhoods that are more horizontal, and you have waterways and bridges and all kinds of physical, geographic, and built environment elements, right? We can't expect to accomplish ubiquitous broadband in an environment like that with one technology. I think that's the obvious thing in New York, is it's going to require a very careful mixture of technologies to accomplish true, ubiquitous or pervasive broadband access. So the question is, what role does 5G play in that mixture? And the challenge on Governor's Island that I mentioned earlier is an important element to us better understanding its value and its role. And truthfully, in a lot of ways, the technologists themselves really beginning to test this in the real world. One of the elements of NYCX kind of broadly is that we're creating real urban environments for this technology to be demonstrated and tested and iterated. And 5G and the Governor's Island Connectivity Challenge is a perfect example of that. We need to accomplish pervasive connectivity on the island. We also want to, as part of that, understand how we can learn from the technology applications on the island to inform our kind of citywide thinking about accomplishing pervasive broadband. Governor's Island is an island. We have other big islands, right, that make up New York. And so looking at it as a test bed to accomplish its own discrete goal, at the same time using that to inform the broader goals for broadband across the city, will basically answer the question you're asking me, which is, how will 5G play in this bigger picture of broadband for everyone? That's precisely the question we are very, very specifically discovering in that challenge.
With Governor's Island as the test bed, as you described, will you work with partners, say Verizon or Spectrum, or is this a city 5G initiative? Just some insights about how the technology might work.
Sure. So when we launched the challenge, in every public forum I was allowed to, I said, this is an invitation to everyone on the planet. The big incumbent telecommunications providers, or the current established players in that market, and a guy and gal in a startup garage somewhere that have a different approach to the technology. We wanted truly to discover all of those possibilities, because we don't know. We don't know whether the technology is going to come from the big telecom providers of the world, or if it's going to come as a new approach or a new technical architecture from a couple folks, you know, that are still at Columbia, right? So the invitation was truly open. I think as we move into the next phase of demonstration, we're demonstrating and testing a couple of things, both the technologies we've already talked about, like how will it accomplish the technical goal of having everyone connected, but truthfully also demonstrating the business model. How will we be able to accomplish the deployment in terms of what our role should be as a city in that conversation? What should the private sector's role be in that conversation? What should the venue, what should their role be in that conversation? We're also, at the same time we're learning about the technology, we're also learning about the potential business structures that make this economically viable to accomplish the goal, right? So we are really, truly, and very openly inviting and trying to understand how to make all those things work together.